Since last we spoke, I decided that the musical group that I'm going to include in our dinner party is U2. It's a bigger group, it's popular, it's well known, it's current, it will draw in a lot of people that come to the event, and this is an Irish band who believes very much and loves their country, and that's where we're going to go. So let's see what we have to find last. Okay, great. We have our historical figure. We have a wonderful, soon-to-be legendary architect who revives architecture. Awesome. We have the musicians U2. Now, all we need is an author who believes in restoration of castles, who is Irish, and gosh, that seems like a tall order. Let's go over to Google and see what we can find out. I typed in Irish poets who care about restoring architecture. I know it seems like a stretch to me too. Let's see. This is Tuair Bailí. I know how to say that because I went to YouTube and listened to a tutorial. Look at this architecture. This looks good. Let's go look at this. William Butler Yeats was an Irish poet, and he bought Tuair Bailí for his wife and worked with an architect and restored the house for her. And when he finished his work, he wrote some beautiful poetry about that castle, and he created an inscription on the doors of the tower. Let's take a look at that and see if we can find that. I went back to Google and explored articles about Yeats Castle and found more information about Yeats Castle, and I found that he undertook the restoration of the old buildings and created this plaque. I, the poet William Yeats, with old millboards and sea green slates and smithy work from the Gort forge, restored this tower for my wife George. And may these characters remain when all is ruined once again. I think he's a great fit for our dinner party because he cares about the restoration of beautiful buildings. And I'm going to add him to the list, and I'm going to know that as I go along, I'm going to study more about Yeats and how he felt about architecture. Because one of the things that I found as I'm exploring around were some links to poems that he wrote about the restoration of architecture. And I can click on this and take a look. And that link takes me over to Wikipedia. And while I know that Wikipedia is not a vetted source, there are still links within Wikipedia that do take me to vetted sources. So the book, The Tower, was his collection of poetry that dealt with things that he found incredibly beautiful, most especially this castle. And the point of going through this is that I don't want to just invite William Butler Yeats to my dinner party. I want to know a little bit about him. I'm going to devote some of my time to studying Yeats, because now I'm in love with this architecture restoration project. And I can look at this poem and see if maybe there's some part of this poem that he might say at my dinner party, in one of the sections of the party where we're discussing the importance of restoring beautiful buildings to their former glory. Let's have a look at this poem and see if any part of it is something that we might use. If I'm in a longer semester and I have lots of time to study Yeats and his poetry and how he is going to be a fit for our dinner party, that's awesome. But if I'm in a fast semester and I don't have a lot of time to spend on it, then I might go to Google, type in quotes from The Tower, which we know is the poetry where Yeats discusses his love for architecture. And I can see these quotes, and let's see if we can use any of these quotes for the essay. After I add this citation to my Works Cited, I can go through here and find quotes from Yeats that might fit into his persuasive ability to sway an audience to support the restoration of our little Irish castle. And when we find a quote in the essay, we're going to have him actually say these words in some part of the essay. So I want to come away from this experience by selecting Yeats as a worthy member of this dinner party who is going to be on my side to help restore this castle. And I'm going to find quotes from him. If I have longer time in another semester, I might be able to really delve into Yeats and the story of him. But I don't want to get off the focus of my dinner party, because my dinner party is concerned with a particular Irish castle that I want to see restored. But I do need to know who it is that's coming to my party, so I want to make some important notes about this person and save those to my notepad where I'm saving all of the information that I might use for my essay. Now the last thing I'm going to need is a philosopher. I need a philosopher who cares about architecture. Oh my gosh, that sounds hard. Let's go over to Google and just type in the question and hope for the best. So I go to Google and I type in philosophers who care about preserving architecture. Oh. But wait, what? What's this? Oh my goodness. This can't be this easy. The hardest one that I thought it was going to be turns out to be the easiest. This philosopher explains architectural properties. Oh my goodness, social features. Oh my goodness, this is the perfect person to have come to our dinner party. Who is this person? Saul Fisher. Okay, let's find him. Oh my goodness. I'm going to spend some time finding out about Saul Fisher, and I'm going to invite him to my dinner party. He will talk about the philosophy of architecture to my money people who are there. Oh my goodness. I go on and type in Saul Fisher, philosophy of architecture. I'm going to click on that. This looks like an image of him talking. Is it the website? I'm going to see if I can find his... Ooh. I'm going to do preliminary research about this philosophy, and I'm going to copy and paste any parts of this philosophical journal that he wrote, and I'm going to add that to my essay. Now this person is going to be valuable to me because he is going to be one who I need to convince the worthiness of the savior of this particular piece of architecture. So he's not going to be a dissenter. He's not going to be somebody who says, no, I believe in the philosophy of architecture, but I don't think your project really has merit. He's not that person, but he is one person at the party who is in need of convincing. So I'm going to take a couple of quotes from here that he has to say about architecture, and I'm going to use those when I talk to him at the party about supporting my cause. Let's add him to my list. He says in his philosophy that one brand of more radical rejection suggests that some architectural objects, perhaps including follies, memorials, or monuments, need have no function at all. So that's what I mean when I say he needs to be persuaded that we agree. He goes on to dispute that, but we agree with that, and we want him to see that our castle project has merit and function and need and is artistic and all those other things. So that's what I mean by selecting some quotes of his. So here are the bones, so to speak, of my dinner party project. And I'm using a little Irish font there. And the cause that I'm going to be studying is the restoration of castles. Specifically, this castle. And why? To support Paul Roberts in his efforts to restore an ancient Irish castle to a safe haven for other patients dying from glioblastoma. The event that I'm going to host is going to be a huge Irish county fair with music, jousting, food, fun, and lots of money donated to the cause. The guests I'm going to include are the live musicians, U2, author William Butler Yeats, historical figure Jose Manuel Lopez Osorio, and philosopher Saul Fisher. And at the end of my party, I'm going to include a very special surprise guest. Who do you think that's going to be? That's right, folks. Paul Roberts himself is going to come to the party at the end and make his plea for help to restore this castle and its... I'm going to add a few words for him to say, but I'm not going to say anything that he wouldn't say. And I'm going to use quotes from that article that we started with from the very beginning of the project. Remember, we started here. And so we go back to what he actually says, and we're going to have him say those words at the end of our party. I'm 58 years old now, and I've had an unusually lucky run with this, Robert said of his treatment. Only a few people manage to survive this long with this disease. And then later on, he's going to say some other things about how he could use some help in getting this funded. And the fact that not only restoring this castle, but creating a safe haven for other patients is his goal. And he says this is a beautiful place. It's the families that get affected by the disease more than anything. How do they work through the wonderful world of medical retirement and insurance? How do they reset their lives to this circumstance? And the way that he wants to do that is by restoring this castle. So our surprise guest is Paul Roberts. And now, before we take a break from this and walk away, we want to make sure that our citation page reflects all of this work that we've done.